Beautiful. Well, hey there, this is Linda Baumgarten from the Connecticut Real Estate Investors Association, the largest and most active group in the Northeast and one of the most active and largest across the United States, as a matter of fact. And I am totally psyched for our guest today, Dr. Al Lowry. I'm happy to consider him a good friend of mine. And I haven't known him quite as long as Joanne and Lou have. They actually learned from him way back in the beginning. And Dr. Lowry is credited with being the first person to basically codify all this training about how to invest in real estate. He's also one of the most creative people I know. When I get a chance to sit down with him when we talk, he starts telling me about deals he's putting together. My jaw always drops because he's always put together something that I never thought of before. So you have a real treat to be able to hear him today, and then also to hear him on Saturday, June 4th. By the way, June 4th is going to be all day. It's from 8:30 to 5. You really want to rearrange your schedule because you're going to be hearing from Reggie Brooks about abandoned houses, which is a huge opportunity, especially right here in the Northeast. And Dr. Lowry is going to talk about tax liens, tax deeds, foreclosures, creative financing, the power of words, all kinds of things. So you definitely want to register for that. So without any further ado, Dr. Lowry here. You get to travel all around the country, so what are you seeing right now are the most beneficial or active opportunities going on right now in America and really the Northeast here? Any perspective on that?
Well, actually, yes, because of the fact the majority of Americans have been sliding backwards now for many, many years. Recently, a lot of figures have been released with reference to Americans and what position they're in. It is shocking to know that our government tells us that 2 people out of 3, in the case of an emergency, could come up with $1,000. They couldn't do it. Now, these are people in the area of making $50,000 a year or less. So that's about 75%. Then we take a look at the people who are making $50,000 to $100,000. 67% could not come up with $1,000 immediately in case of an emergency. Then we go to those people making a little more, which is $100,000 plus. 38% couldn't do it. Now, the biggest problem these people have is they're not investing in themselves. They spend a lot of money on larger television sets and a lot of other areas, but they don't invest in themselves. And what I find so shocking is that you have put together for the 4th day of June probably one of the most significant programs anybody could ever think of to get themselves started and make a lot of money. Because in your area, actually, thousands and thousands of homes are actually standing empty. Thousands of properties are out there where people are delinquent in mortgage payments. These are people who are motivated, looking for help. And the interesting thing is that I just spent a whole day and a half with Reggie Brooks putting together actually so we can instruct your audience about some of the great opportunities that are available today. Interesting enough, that people can get started out there, and they don't really understand that the government has got billions and billions and billions of dollars they're giving away, and people say, well, no, I guess that's only for people on welfare. Well, I think Donald Trump doesn't qualify, yet he has gone ahead and built buildings, etc., and never had to pay any tax. One development, no taxes, tax-free for 10 years. My students are obtaining free money all around the country. They understand what to do because we are going to show your audience on Saturday how this basically works. Then, of course, there's also the area of credit. How come that some people can just walk in and buy anything without actually coming up with any money? I could give you an example. I purchased the largest restaurant in the state of Pennsylvania, 26,000 square feet, 10 acres of parking, went into the Mellon Bank, and they had just foreclosed the property. I made a proposition to them of them actually providing the financing for the property on a loan to facilitate the purchase of this property for myself. Well, then I came up with an idea, and I thought, boy, they would like to get this off their scheduled item. I wonder if I was to offer them them an all-cash deal within 10 days if that might work. And believe it or not, I received tens of thousands of dollars discount. I contacted the First Interstate Bank, called the banker, and said, I need quite a bit of money, like tomorrow. And he said, well, your account isn't that healthy for dollars, and, which it never is, really. And I said, I have a continuing guarantee with the bank. And so he said, you do? He said, up to date. And I said, yes. So he went away, came back. He said, we will have the money you've requested funded by tomorrow morning. You'll be able to draw on it tomorrow afternoon. Now, the thing is, on that particular illustration, I'm buying the largest restaurant in the state, and I never took a dollar out of my pocket to do it. So I'm going to show you how you can start on just a little single-family dwelling, how to get started, how you actually could buy a property, no money. And I'm going to walk you through it, whereby this is a foreclosure with a bank. They foreclosed for $82,000. We and you and I are going to offer them $85,000 cash, even though we got $17 in the bank. I'm going to show you and illustrate to you how you'll put that deal together, because the property is worth $140,000 to $170,000. But the owners of it have lost the property to foreclosure. Bank wants to get rid of it badly. We offer them $85,000 all cash. The interesting thing is I'm going to teach you how you can buy that property without taking a dime out of your pocket. Even if you're unemployed and you got no money, you still could buy that property even with poor credit. Now, the thing is that what we're going to show you, and we spent a great deal of time working on this to get this prepared for June the 4th. Some of the most creative ideas you've ever heard of, but we're going to deal with the area of credit, what it's all about. How do we basically get out there to find those wholesale properties? Wholesale properties are around you everywhere, but the thing is you don't know how to recognize them, so we're going to teach you how to do that. What about getting excellent financing? Financing is not that difficult to get really great financing. The whole thing is you can't look to the standard realtor to get great financing because he's not in the position of having been taught how to do it. But, you know, in talking about things of that nature, just recently I was just speaking to a gentleman, and it was interesting because I was replying to a letter. And the letter was very interesting in as much as he says in his letter, thanks to what you taught me, my wife Nikki and I actually are both real estate investing in government grant funding programs. We've increased our net worth by $4,500,000. We now own several income-producing properties, zero debts, no mortgage payments to pay whatsoever, have $1 million property totally free and clear. He then goes on to say also that when he took my training, which this training is going to be June the 4th, when he took the training, he was $20,000 in debt. His wife was $30,000 in debt. And here they are now in a period of 7 years, a net worth of $4.5 million. Now, you can do it. And the thing is, what you've got to do is just make a decision. You are going to go out and do something for yourself and your family. If you would do this and just take the principles we teach to you, you too could be in that road to financial security where you'll never have to worry about a job anymore. You're going to have sufficient income to look after you and your loved ones for the rest of your natural life. You know, I get so excited about what I talk about because there's so much out there. What about protecting ourselves? We're going to talk about tax sales and certificates. Did you know that if you took a look at the top 500 companies from the Fortune 500 list, that none of them have ever been able to cut a 20% profit? Yet the interesting thing is we are going to teach you, even with $500, that you could be receiving 20% interest on your money instead of a 1% from that bank, but over 20% interest on your money. Not only that, it's guaranteed by the government, and you're going to receive a government check. Well, why would you want to mess around with not knowing how to totally change your life? And that is exactly what this conference is all about, how to get out there and really make it happen. And, you know, those options out there, you don't know where to go, what to do, you don't understand buying from the bank. I talk to people all the time, and I ask a question. Have you ever contacted a bank about trying to buy one of their foreclosures? And I always see a bunch of hands. And then I say, what is it that's happening here? Well, the thing is, first of all, you don't understand that banks don't have foreclosures for sale. They have non-performing assets for sale. You start out by not using the correct terminology, and they cut you off and say you go to a realtor and pay full price. So therefore, you could be buying directly from the bank, and we'll teach you how to do that, where you'll get 10 to 20% additional discount than if you were to go through a regular realtor. This is so exciting, and I get so excited about it because I see what's happening with people and how it changes their lives.
Yep. And you see, everybody here at CT Arena, if you've been to at least one meeting, you've met basically two of Al's top students, because when they started 35 years ago, interest rates were 17 to 21%, and they bought all of their real estate, rentals, single families, office buildings, all with not using any of their own money and using creative financing. So, everything that Al is talking about is proven right before your very eyes. Now you have to learn what the secrets are and the tricks of the trade are. Oh.
Well, when we think about a lot of these secrets and so on, people are very surprised that they'll go to, say, a training somewhere and find that I'm sitting in the audience and I'm sitting making all kinds of notes, etc., because I have found that you have to continue your learning. We come out of college, actually, and we're told, go get a good job somewhere. We're looking for jobs out there for $70,000, but we've got actually $40,000 worth of debt for college to get a job for $70,000, and then we can pay it off for the next 10 to 20 years. How stupid could this be? That doesn't make any common sense. Now, remember, I started, actually, and I came out of an orphanage, actually, and I worked at hard labor. I already had become a person of financial security and independence. I could live off the income from my real estate holdings when I decided to go back to school. Ended up getting a master's in business. I have a master's in real estate, then received my doctorate. Now, the point I'm trying to drive at is I already had discovered how to become a multimillionaire, and I didn't complete grade 8, but I had the answer. And I'm going to show you in detail how simple this can be, and I'm going to walk you through it point by point by point. By the way, make sure you bring a good tablet and a couple of pens there, because you're going to take a lot of notes. Many of the things that I'm going to teach you and show you, you will be able to go to the marketplace immediately and be able to use them. I'm not going to sell you any real estate. I don't take any commissions. I don't take referral fees. What I do is I teach you the secrets of how to become financially secure and independent. And the interesting thing is the top 5 investment groups, a whole of the United States, is right there, Hartford. Right there with Linda. And that is fantastic, where you can get such tremendous help. You've also got counselors that she has that have taken training through me, who are multimillionaires. They're going to share points with you also. So the thing is, whatever you have to do, change your calendar. Don't delay. Make sure you get a reservation and get yourself, because I know I have been to some of Linda's events, and they're sold out. People are waiting, trying to get in. So make your reservation now. You have another man who's going to be with you, Reggie Brooks. Reggie Brooks actually was a person living in a very, very poor area, single mother, etc., was told he would never succeed, never finished high school, and he was working at labor and everything else, and he sat down and took down notes and then applied them to his own life. He's a multimillionaire today. Why would you want to go and learn from people who have not made multi-millions? You learn from them because most people are broke. Most people don't have the education of how to make money. They only got education to go and work at a job at hard labor. Please make a point now. Say, I will definitely be there Saturday. Don't be late, because we start right on time.
Yeah, in fact, we're doing an on raffle, giving away a tablet, notebook, computer, which people can always use because everything is mobile these days. So you definitely want to be there right on time at 8:30. And these guys teach all the way through. That's why we're including lunch. We'll have a short break to grab your lunch. It's right there, but just plan on the day. Bring your business cards with you. Dress for success. You don't have to wear a suit and tie, but, business casual would be good. You never know who's in the room that could bring you a deal or be a private lender for you or be a contractor for you. So you definitely want to do that. Hey, Dr. Larry, when I got it, because you mentioned tax liens and tax deeds, and I got a question from one of our members. It was from Dan. He says, please ask Dr. Lowry how he would go about checking out the neighborhoods of investment properties and out-of-area investing, so which happens a lot with tax liens and tax deeds. How do I make sure that I'm not investing in a war zone if I'm buying a tax deed or lien in a state that I'm not familiar with?
You know, I think that's one of the best questions I've heard in quite some time. And my partner, whereby we made a lot of investments into tax certificates, this type of thing, and deeds, is in New York City. And then people say, well, do you buy those over in New York State? And the answer is no. Why? Because we know there's other places to go to get much more money and make more money much, much easier. Now, for an example, we bought property in other areas. Interesting enough, my wife, not too long ago, actually, had said, gee, look, we just got this big check in the mail, actually. And the interesting thing is the property was in Fort Morgan, Colorado. Did I ever see it? No. Did she ever see it? No. We bought it sight unseen, and we sold it sight unseen. But how did I do it? All I did is contact a local appraiser in the local area to give me an eye view of what this was. Just a few pictures. It cost me $200, but we made tens of thousands of dollars. We never even left our house. So it's so simple, and you're going to be able to make tremendous amounts of money. You could be making money that is, well, it's shocking. People just can't believe some of the amount of monies that people make under tax deeds and liens. The thing is, they get a little bit of lousy information that's not accurate. We are going to give you accurate information. We're going to show you exactly what to do step by step by step, and therefore you'll be able to make this money while you're sitting at home. It's wonderful.
Yeah, so what you're saying is the strategies you're going to teach on Saturday, people that have full-time jobs, 40 hours a week, they can use it to make money also.
That's exactly correct. The thing is, how do you make it on 40 hours a week in labor? Why is it that we have so many of the Asians in the Asian countries that seem to be doing so well? Well, I just came back from Taiwan. I spent 3 weeks over there, and it was interesting to note that the average person works 60 hours a week. Ours are working 40. Sometimes they're not even working that, because as soon as they get to work, they want to go and start having coffee. So they're at times not even putting enough into it. So the thing that what we're going to show you is a program that can lead you to total financial security. Take what we share with you. At the end of that day, you will be overwhelmed with the amount of information that you're going to receive on how you can become financially independent today in today's market.
Yeah, and so you could invest halfway across America, but there's huge numbers of opportunities right here in Connecticut and in New England. We had a moratorium on foreclosures, Al, for about 2 years, a year and a half, 2 years, and because of robo-signing and those kinds of things. So as a result, we are just now going through all the inventory. And, you know, even in the nicest neighborhoods, you just drive down the streets and you're going to see a lot of abandoned houses. They call them zombie houses because they're in limbo. Nobody really knows who owns them and all those kinds of things. And between Reggie and yourself, you're going to share with us some strategies on how to research these projects and how to turn them into money.
Well, you know, that's so interesting that you mentioned it, because we have put together, in fact, we were just working on it a couple of days ago to have it available for your particular audience, and we call it the Black and Blue Sheets. And what this does is give a breakdown of where to go to get the best bargains in the country. And these are with banks, it's true, with banks who are suffering badly, who want to do anything to get these scheduled items off their list. They're required by law to get rid of them. And a lot of them got a lot of problems. They are actually dumping property at less money than they actually took the property in on. So when you have that available, wow, whatever you could do. And actually, we're going to be talking about this because I've made a lot of money by using those lists, etc. But we compiled them, and we had our office staff have to help us, of course. But we took a number of days to put this list together, and we're going to make that available. People will be shocked at what they could do with it.
Oh, wow. So when they come to the event, so they'll be able to find out about these Black and Blue Sheets. That's cool. And
and
you're also
will.
and then you're also giving away a CD that's something about how to become rich in real estate. And each person attending the event on Saturday will also get that. So they're going to be able to hear you speaking to them in their car over and over and over again until they start talking like you. I'm very excited about that piece.
That sounds great.
You also talk a lot about, you were saying about grants, but also like auctions. Like you could buy boats and jewelry and televisions and all kinds of things from government auctions, right? You're going to be talking about that, so it's not just going to be about real estate, but can you touch on that topic a little bit?
Yes, I will. The thing to understand that there's auctions taking place all the time, but the majority of people never go to them. They don't even know what they are. Now, you have two different types. You have the first type of auction, which is dealing with personal property, and that could be boats and cars, etc., personal property. Then you have real property. But the thing that most people do not realize that the largest sales of personal property and real property held in the world is conducted by the United States government. People buy at 10 cents on the dollar, 15, 20 cents on the dollar. You hear of so many things where people are buying. I have one particular party there, went to the auction actually, and he bought an item there, and he paid $15 for it, and it was worth over $100,000. Another situation, a boat is 65 feet in length. There's 26 people that have gone to the auction. Only one person bid. This is what they call an auction where the highest bidder is going to get that particular boat. So as a result of it, there was only one bid, and it was for $10, and the man got a $50,000 boat for a period of $10. Now, why don't these other people buy? The thing is, they're standing there, and they got all the excuses in the world. You got to pay for mooring charges, and you got to repair it, and you got to do this. That's all stupid statements. The thing is, you get a boat that's worth $50,000. You get on the telephone, call 3 boat brokers, and just tell them that they can have this boat that's appraised at $50,000 for $35,000. And the first one of you guys that get to me with the correct cashier's check for $35,000, you can have the boat. They'll go through a red light to get there for that kind of bargain. You could have sold it for $30,000 or $20,000 or $15,000 and still make a lot of money. People buy cars all the time. In fact, I'm going to show an illustration of a car being purchased, and the profit on it is $5,000. It took 4 hours to make $5,000, and I'm going to show you how to do it. And you cannot afford not to go to this training. You can't afford. You've got to be there on Saturday.
Now, this is all true. Like, we also have people that unfortunately lost their home to foreclosure or a short sale, or they lost their job, or they filed for bankruptcy. But even those folks can make money using your strategies, right?
Well, the answer is yes. Actually, the interesting thing is that a person could have lost a home, and they're told by local realtors, well, you can't buy another home for 2 years because you cannot get financing, all that sort of garbage. The interesting thing is you could have lost your home to foreclosure 2 weeks ago, and I can teach you how to buy a home in the next 30 days. You could have filed bankruptcy, and you hear that if there's a filing of a bankruptcy, it has to show on your credit report for a period of 7 and 10 years. This is all garbage. You could have filed a bankruptcy and never have it show on a credit report. Well, the reason all these things happen to people is they won't take the time to sit down with people like ourselves who can show them what the answers are. And the interesting thing is when you get finished at 5 o'clock, and I tell the people, let me just give you all kinds of information. You just stay around there. I'll stay there for an extra hour or 2 hours, answer questions for you, show you what to do. Bring your questions on a piece of paper. We'll go through it. We're not going to charge you anything, actually, to give you that information. Just come and ask us the questions, and we're going to answer them for you.
Yeah, we really encourage you, if you have any leads that you're working on, any prospects you're working on, and you haven't been able to figure out how to make money, we definitely encourage you to bring it to that event so that you can, so that we can help you out with them. And by the way, we actually had a student, a member, Daniel. He bought a house appraised at $400,000. He got into it with absolutely no money down. All he's doing is making monthly payments, and he just got a bonus because the owner lives in Europe, and they arranged at the beginning to pay him back in euros, and the euro is down right now, so he's in the middle of refinancing. He's going to save $100,000 off the purchase price because of the exchange rate of money. So, and he had just lost his house to a short sale or foreclosure like a year before. And isn't that amazing, right? So what Al here is talking about, and the reason why I was throwing this in is, sometimes when you hear Dr. Lowry talk, he says, yeah, that sounds like a bunch of smoke and mirrors. But no, I mean, Al's been teaching this for decades, and if you listen to what he says and then you put it to work, you will make money doing these strategies.
I'd like to add a little point there. Many people have heard the name Carlton Sheets. He was on national television for 25 years on how to buy a property with no money, using no credit. And in my particular area, I'd been an advisor with him. And interesting enough, we had dinner just last night. And the other thing that was interesting, he said, Al, what do you think about this particular piece of property, which I took a look at it, and I said, I think it's great. He said, what would you think it would be worth on the market? And I said, well, I know the market pretty well, probably in the 150 to 160 range. He said, we just put an offer on it for $80,000 cash, and we're probably going to get the deal. And what my point is here, that does he have to have $80,000 in cash? The answer is no, because you see, he could go ahead and get a loan, even if it was you that's listening to what I'm saying here. You could get a loan for probably 70% to 80% of the fair market value, and you could buy it and put money in your pocket. So you not only get the property with a nice, beautiful equity in it, but you put some cash in your pocket at the same time. Why not learn how people do this type of thing? And we had a great dinner last night, and it was a barbecue, and I enjoyed it.
Well, that's great. Well, thanks very much, Al, for spending these few minutes with us. I know you're an extraordinarily busy gentleman, so like he just said, do anything you possibly can to come on Saturday. We're going to be covering a lot of subjects all in one day. So get a good night's sleep the night before, bring something to take notes on, and because we're going to be covering abandoned houses, zombie houses, tax liens, tax deeds, everything. And we're also going to be we didn't even talk about contracts. I mean, Al came to me a couple of years ago with a draft of a book, and when I opened it up, I said, oh, my gosh, this is the keys to the kingdom. It's actually all these different phrases that if you put them in your contracts would give you so much more power. And it's all right there as a stencil thing. And I said, please, you've got to introduce this to our, my members, to my coaching students, all of that. And so you're going to be talking about contracts and the wording in contracts a little bit too on Saturday, right?
I definitely am, and what was also interesting is one of my students, who actually is a student, and he is a practicing attorney, and the subject came up about the fact about some of the interesting clauses that I have written, and I just made a comment about the fact that I'd put a work together writing successful contracts, and with all these different types of illustrations of contracts and different wording, etc. And it's something similar to what you had said, that any person who was investing in anything, even a single-family dwelling, that the work was worth well over $1,000. This attorney told me, he said, it's now worth $1,000. He said, as an attorney, he said, it's worth $100,000 to me. He said, I have never seen stuff illustrated the way you've shown, that an average individual off the street could go ahead and use it, put it into a contract that could save them $10,000 or $20,000. He said, one that I found interesting is you talked about the seller paying for a policy of title insurance. And actually, the interesting thing is you then talk about the buyer getting a refund on the title insurance that he never paid for. He said, I've never even heard of this stuff before. And he said, I practice in real estate. He said, that manual is probably one of the finest types of books, and it should be in the hands of every investor who invests into real estate.
Yes, I believe it. I mean, just think about it. If you can negotiate terms with the seller of a property, and you can save thousands of dollars on just from the terms alone. I mean, it's just priceless. And one of the things that if you hang out with Al long enough, you're going to start thinking creatively outside of the box. And then when you get into it, because you can never predict. Every seller is a little bit different. Every project is a little bit different. So you can never predict what's going to come out of everybody's mouths. But once you hang out with Al long enough and you start getting those creative thoughts going through your head, you're going to begin to see ways of negotiating and ways of putting deals together that nobody else has even thought of before. And that right there is priceless. And it's priceless because not only the money you save, but also the opportunities that you can take advantage of. Well, let me give you one more example. So we have a student, she's bought 3 condos in a 55-plus area, and several people that we know of looked at that deal and passed on it. The guy wanted $40,000, and they said, just can't make any money with it. Now, this was already renovated, already had 3 tenants in there. Turned out he owed a lot of money to the city and to the condo association. Well, Joanne, who was trained by you, Al, walked her through all the different negotiations until she was able, to the student who actually got the project, she was able to negotiate payments, no money down, just payments every single month to the condo association and to the city. And in 3 years, which she's just about done now, she's about to own these 3 projects, these 3 condos, 100%. Now, the other people, because they didn't know what you're talking about, Al, did not get to take advantage of that. They're not about to make $2,400 a month free and clear, but she is because she learned the strategies that you're going to be teaching. So it's not just how much money you can save initially, but all the different projects you can take advantage of that you would have had to pass on if you don't know these strategies, if I explained that right.
A lot of people don't realize what's available, and some of the very, very famous people actually have sat in a class with us, actually being Reggie Brooks and myself, and it just came across my note here, I guess it was about a week ago, that Robert Kiyosaki had sent in something, and it's interesting, I have it in my hand. As you may know, your course has had a long and lasting impact upon my life. More than making me rich, your program gave me financial independence. Isn't that fantastic? Here's a multi-millionaire who, when he sat down into a session with us, went ahead, and he was broke, actually totally broke, and used the principles that we taught to him to become a multimillionaire. Robert Sheeman, very, very famous person actually again. So you've got people out there who've gone through training, have learned how to change their lives. And the initial thing is getting started. And to get started, all you have to do is put aside June the 4th, all day. Not only that, when we finish at 5, don't rush out the door, because questions and answers will be there, and we will stay with you. If we have to sit there with you for an hour or 2 extra hours, we will do it. And think of it, you got multi-millionaires, and you're not paying a dime as far as what we're talking about. And you can ask any question you like about your current problems, what you're trying to do, how to solve problems, creativity of finance, all of these things. Whatever it is, make a list, and we'll go through every single one of them with you and help you.
That's awesome. So as a reminder, so it's this Saturday from 8:30 to 5. Now, we are meeting at the Radisson Hotel in Cromwell. This is not at the Sheraton in Meriden. So it's at the Radisson Hotel in Cromwell. Go there. It's right off of I-91, exit 21. Regardless of which direction you're in, you're just going to turn left off the exit, and then it's on the left-hand side. I urge you to pre-register. As Dr. Lowry referred to, we actually sold out of lunches last month. So please register ahead of time. I am going to give you a bonus for showing up. So first of all, Dr. Lowry is giving away a free CD about how to become rich in real estate. So you're going to walk away with that. But I'm going to give you a $10 bonus for showing up, which means, when you register, I just want you to use this this coupon code. It's Lowry Call, Lowry Call, because we're on a call with him. Give me a few minutes to set up that coupon code, and but I hope that you register today. If you have any questions at all, call CT RIA at 860-265-4414, or you can send an email to membership@ctria.com. And like I said, bring some business cards with you, dress for success. If you don't have business cards, paper with your name and phone number work very well. Just like in the good old days, we did not always have business cards. So I made a whole lot of money before the internet happened, and so did Al. So you can just use paper and pencil. Bring a pad of paper to take some notes on, because you're going to want to do that. And I really look forward to having you be there for sure. Dr. Lowry, any final words you want to include here?
Yes, I am so excited about the fact of being able to do it. I do not speak and teach all over the country anymore like I used to years ago. Now I spend my time helping my students, Jesse, to get over that threshold of, that fear that's inside them there. And what I do is remove the fear of going out there to become rich today.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. All right, guys, thanks for joining us on this call in the middle of your day, and I look forward to seeing you all on Saturday. Thanks so much, Al. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.